What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. I can't stop laughing. It's like nervous delusion that I'm laughing so much because the market's fucked. It's totally fucked. Like we're literally going to zero. No, not really. It's fine. I mean, it's not fine. It's not fine. It's serious, right? It's serious. Okay. This has got to be serious. Man, what a day, hey! Today, I officially started my new series on TikTok, by the way, which I haven't done before. And I thought I'm going to pivot a little bit because normally I just like go, oh, Ethereum's about to go to the moon. Blah, blah. Okay, I'm bored of that. We're going to document a journey that says, how do you just go from a standard, slightly overweight dad of 3 who has a normal 9-to-5 job to transition into be a global social media megastar that talks about cryptocurrency? That's the plan, right? So I started my first like, join me in a day, which is like walk the dog, markets, check them out. Like, oh, everything looks okay. Boom. Japanese carry trade Rexes. Boom. Everyone starts selling off. You're like, oh, yeah, okay, great news. Anyway, I know loads of you will have heard all the news today about the Japanese carry trade, bond spiking, markets going to zero, everyone totally freaking out. Altcoins are literally on life support, if not already in the ground. A particular number of them, actually. So we're going to get into some, not really anything special, but I guess probably just walk through what the fuck has happened and what that then looks like, okay? Is the market over? Why did we see this massive dump? How bad really is it? Is the recession here? All of that kind of stuff, right? So we're going to sort of get into everything and anything that you need to be aware of, how that plays out, and yeah, just kind of talk through with charts and stuff. By the way, I'm just going to randomly sit here for the next like couple of hours and just be like, oh, well, I think this is the way it's going to go, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, if you haven't already, or you're not already following me on TikTok, by the way, please do so, because it'd be great if you could support this journey, okay? Because you never know. It might be one of those things that's like, oh, well, maybe like this is how you do it or whatever, right? It'd be great if people could just support that and let's see where we can take it and let's see what we can do. I'd appreciate it. So yeah, just another normal day. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. Like I said, we're going to get into all of it and everything and anything, as you could imagine, in this live stream. So share it out. Let people know we're here. Vastly appreciate it. And again, thank you for your time. Let's get into it. All right, let's get into it. Well, here we go. TikTok, I'm sure you guys want to see it as well. So let me turn you guys around. Here we go then. This is currently where we sit on the market. Now, forget the dotted line just for the second. I will talk about what that is in just a minute. But here we go. This is where we are, and a monstrous dump arena. Now, I was kind of live. Obviously, we were live last night and we were chatting about a few things. And then, markets opened literally like 12 o'clock my time open. Pre-markets then opened and kaboom, down we went. Now, as I always say, well, Curtis, I'm going to tell you what that dotted line is in just a minute. But what's worth noting a little bit is why obviously we got this dump, which again, loads of people understand. Well, I don't know if people do understand actually. The Japanese carry trade, the Japanese bond market, all of this sort of stuff, right? And I just, FYI, I think it's very FOMO driven, by the way. And I mean, probably fear of missing out on gains, I think is probably where I would get to, right? And I think this is kind of a little bit why I was sort of saying yesterday, I would just wait, I would see what happens. Also, if you watch my content regularly, I actually talked about the potential of this happening. I'm going to say like 2 weeks ago, I did a video talking specifically about the risks for the Japanese carry trade, the risks for the Japanese bond market. So again, if you plugged into my content, you would have seen that a couple of weeks ago. But this is why I think Andy Babby was in last night saying, oh, I might buy the dip. And I was like, look, I would definitely just sit tight, wait and see what happens. Like, there's no risk at the minute. Don't FOMO in. Boom. What a absolute call that was. So remember, that's the reason why you should be following, subscribing, all that kind of good stuff. Do you know what I mean? We walk through some stuff and we sort of get into a little bit of all what's going on. So the fact or the harsh reality of the matter is this. This is the big dump arena. The question now is, what do we do next? Evening. Ken says evening seems to be going down. Yeah, we're talking about exactly what that is. So the question now is, what is this big line? The big dotted line, what is it, 2-Bit? Tell us what it is, 2-Bit, come on. We need to know. Well, the dotted line is essentially the Japanese bond market, okay? And what you can see historically is whenever the bond market spikes, cryptocurrency dumps. Whenever crypto dumps, the bond market dumps. Whenever crypto pumps, the bond market dumps, right? We can see it very often. So you can see here, look, the wick down, followed by the wick up. You see the wick up, followed by the wick down, okay? Very, very, it's very strongly correlated. Yes, you might not get, this distance might not be the same as this distance as an example, but generally speaking, bond markets go up in Japan, Bitcoin comes down, right? Okay, simple as that. And again, you can see here. So this is what you need to be aware of right now, which is the Japanese bond market is spiking, okay? And again, you will have heard this. Loads of people have talked about it. Loads of people will be like, oh, the Japanese carry trade's unwinding. I think it's not that bad when it comes to the Japanese carry trade, because I still think 2024 unwound a ton of it. But essentially, that's what this is. Now, the best way to also look at it is here. This is the only chart you need to keep your eyes out for right now, okay? I'm coming in the live stream all the time, but I watch every video you post to. But Marky Mark, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. It does mean a lot, generally. And again, definitely follow me on TikTok. So we're starting a journey of how to become a social media cryptocurrency superstar while doing a 9-to-5 job as well. So if you want a chart to watch right now, this is the chart that every single person should have on their TradingView account, which is the US dollar versus Japanese yen, okay? The dotted line on this particular chart is, however, different. It's not different. It should have been different. So let's put on this chart. This is what I want to see. So let's put this one on. This is the price of BTC against on this chart, okay? So again, what you've got here is this is the dollar versus the Japanese yen, and then you've got the price of Bitcoin. So you can see how these two correlate. Generally speaking, when we see the price of Bitcoin up, we see the Japanese dollar versus the yen down. Then we see the market spike up. So this is essentially the Japanese yen gaining value, okay, being worth more versus then the price of Bitcoin, okay? So right now, as of we speak, you get $155. Sorry, you get 155 yen to the dollar. Is that right? That doesn't feel right. Hold on a minute. Dollar to Japanese yen. So if I put $1, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, the Japanese yen. So essentially, what you have here is an increase in terms of the Japanese yen. So the yen is becoming more valuable. Yeah, it's a ratio. That's right. So the yen is becoming more valuable, okay? Versus the dollar. Now, historically, if you go back, let's put this on the monthly candles, for example, right? And the price of BTC is probably not the best. Put it on the weekly, actually. Probably the best of indicators. But as you can see here, that historically, what we've seen for forever is just this really flat, not doing anything, super, super quiet. Obviously, we get the 2024 spike. This was the 2024 carry trade unwind. Obviously, everyone freaked out. And you can see here that Bitcoin just absolutely dumped its asshole off down to about 50K. Relative, okay? It's obviously a relative price. And then obviously we got the boom as everything kind of settled out. So that is kind of the big thing you need to be aware of right now, which is as the dollar weakens versus the yen, then this essentially is impacting the market. So this is kind of pushing the price down. Now, the best way to kind of see it would be in something like, where did I put that chart? Here. So again, if you were looking for something to keep your eyes out for, the Japanese 10-year is, again, essentially what they're looking at. So what you've got now is a massive spike. So basically what you've got is forever. Look at this chart here. Forever. So 2016, 2017, 18, 19, 20. Basically from 2000 and probably 15-ish. Right up until 2021, late, very early 2022. It was essentially not even worth holding Japanese bonds, right? It was a waste of time. They're basically 0% return. So why the hell would anyone own them? If you think about that as a direct correlation to, say, US bonds, so if you looked at the 10-year, for example, on the US bonds, you're currently going to get around 4%, okay? So why bother holding Japanese bonds if you can hold US bonds? So who is, a little bit of a quiz here, who is the biggest holder of US treasuries, right? Who is it? Now, there's a clue in obviously the title that we're talking about, but this should tell you everything that, and again, this was something I was talking about a while back, right? But who is the biggest holder of US treasuries right now? Anyone wants to have a guess? TikTok are looking at the screen as well. Japan, Tomato P, congratulations. So we can actually see this here. You can see here, Japan is the biggest holder of US treasuries by a fucking absolute mountain, right? Absolute mountain, which is kind of crazy to think about. Why? Because you can loan debt in Japan for literally nothing. Zero interest. Okay? So think about this. Zero interest. I can go and get $1 billion and pay fucking no interest on it, right? So you're like, okay, cool. I'm going to go and get $1 billion worth of Japanese yen. I'm going to convert that back into US, and I'm going to basically go and buy US treasuries. Why the fuck not? Do you know what I mean? I might as well get 4% on my free money. Dead easy, okay? It's essentially like printing money for free. This is why it's been such a big thing. The global markets are driven by Japan, okay? Japan's carry trade, Japan's unwinding, blah, 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 okay? We don't want to get too crazy on it, to be honest, but that's why you're seeing it, okay? So where the problem comes is and I talked about this in my Bitcoin update video, remember? Comes at 11:30 UK time every single day. If you didn't see it, I recommend going and watching it because I talked exactly about this stuff. So here is the big problem. The 117 billion extra budget to fund stimulus, okay? So you have to understand what stimulus is. And this is very different to QE. And basically a stimulus is, how do we get people to spend more money? So that is like chuck some money in their pockets. Think about pandemic, right? How did they get people to go back out of their houses and go and eat somewhere? The government subsidized people to go and eat in restaurants. They were like, hey, go out on a Wednesday, get 50% off. And the government basically funded it, right? So it's a cost. It's not cost neutral. It absolutely is a cost to a balance sheet, to a government, whatever it is. But basically what they're going to do is they're just going to fucking hoy loads of stuff at it and try and get people to go out and spend money. That's how you drive the economy. The assumption would be you get people to spend, let's say you spend $100 billion. Your idea is that you stimulate the economy so that you try and get a little bit moving. Now, by stimulating the economy, or the risk of stimulating, what you've got is since 2020, so think about this, in 5 years, you've had a spike in rates on the 10-year treasury to 1.8%. So obviously we got the big spike back in 2024 where everyone freaked out. The interest rates went up. Everyone all of a sudden is like, holy shit, my $1 billion, I'm now paying 1.86. That means my net deficit is 2.4 versus US treasuries. Now convert back to the yen. Bear in mind, we just talked about this. The yen is now obviously increasing in value. Like, oh crap, like I'm going to owe money on this trade. This is the worst trade in the entire world. Screw it. I might as well go back and buy 10-year bonds or even 20-year bonds or even 30-year government-backed bonds and get 4.74%. And that's what you've seen. Hence why you've got these larger bonds now in the US that is starting to move to the upside. So this is basically what we got in 2024 where everyone freaked out and everyone was like, Jesus Christ, I'm just going to get rid of it. Now, fast forward to today. What the fuck happened? Now, the reality is that what we saw was not only a massive panic in the markets, like the markets opened and went, shit, Japan's actually going to drive this. It doesn't even happen until December 17th, by the way. So we've got like 2 weeks, nearly 3 weeks until the actual decision comes in. And what you'll probably find right now is there'll probably be some pretty big global pressure on Japan to be like, do not raise your fucking rates. Or if you are thinking of like slapping a 50 or even a 75 basis points increase, like chill out. Let's not go that crazy right now. And again, this is kind of where we're getting it. So the fact of the matter is that with not only are we, freaking out about Japanese bond yields, rate hike expectations and all this kind of stuff, you also then get massive liquidations, right? Huge liquidations, nearly $1 billion again, which everyone knows what happens with that. So you get this like immense sell pressure coming in from the kind of charts and all the rest of it, right? So, everyone's totally losing their mind. People simply can't exit their trades. Everyone's kind of been lured into this. This is why I think it's kind of bullshit as well, right? Because people have been like lured into this super boring weekend where everyone's like, oh, like, it's kind of all right. Like, the weekend's pretty flat. Boom. Pre-markets look bullish. Boom. Get fucking screwed on your knobhead. That's kind of what happened essentially with some of this stuff. And this is kind of the big unwind. Now, what's going on, buddy? The question is, how freaking bad is it actually going to get? And that's where we need to unpack this a little bit more. So that kind of gives you a summary of what's happened, okay? So everyone should be relatively online, okay? Japanese yields go up, Bitcoin goes down. It's as simple as that, right? If you wanted it in its silver's going to the moon. Do you know what I mean? Silver is like sky. Basically, if you'd have bought anything at all, stocks, shares, ISAs, equities, traded the derivatives market, gold, shit, horse manure, farm animals, anything other than bullshit cryptocurrency, you'd have been fine, right? You'd have been fine. The fact that we all decided that, hey, crypto's going to the moon, turns out that was a crap idea. Now, long term, I'm sure it's going to be absolutely fine. And by the way, I'm not super bearish, but if you'd just bought Nvidia, it would have been fine. Anyway, moving on. So the good news or the bad news, depending on how you look at it, 4.71%. Japan, December is turning out to already be one of the worst months ever. We are actually 8% away from the average that normally sits in December, okay? Tim, thank you so much for the gifted membership. Appreciate that, buddy. Also helping the channel out on my journey to become like a normal, a full-time YouTuber and TikTok superstar. Do you know what I mean? 100 people here, 100 people and 30 people there. Let's get it, baby. Let's do it. So, good news, though. Supermarket Spa is going to accept Bitcoin. Great. Okay. No one cares. No one freaking cares. So, let's walk through how bad, right? How bad can this get? And I think to understand this, we have to understand exactly where we are going and how big this unwind can go. Gino, Gino LaCuffs. That's a fucking great name. That's a great name. Don't thank him. He's just bought himself one again. Who's that? What? So let's understand how bad this can get. And this probably then might give us an idea as to where we are going to go. So let's unwind exactly what has happened. So Japan's 10-year yield just hit 1.84%. That is the highest since 2008. If you remember, 2008 is the year before a monstrosity bull market. All right. So if you work through bull market cycles, we all know, 2021, 2017, 2013, 2009. Okay. So, we can absolutely align ourselves to, let's get rid of the Bitcoin price. So we can kind of align ourselves to this. So like we said, this is kind of where we are seeing this like enormous unwind. For 30 years, this is how crazy this is. Spar for out of date bread. This is how crazy it is, right? For 30 years, Japan was the liquidity anchor. Basically, go and borrow cheap yen and go and buy treasuries in the US, right? Go and do all that kind of stuff. Tim coming in fresh with another gifted. Let's go, baby. Thank you so much. Oh, look at that. Holy crap. What's going on? Tim, huh? What? Tim, what the hell? Said 20 gifted memberships. Oh my, Tim, bro, let's go. Man, everyone shout out to Tim for the gifted memberships. That's fucking outstanding. Mr. Tim Shea, take a freaking bow, sir. Take a bow. Yeah, we'll try and stream the speech. I think so, yeah. But, man, thank you so much, Tim. I appreciate that, buddy. I appreciate that. 20 gifted. Holy crap. You're an absolute freaking legend, my man. Freaking legend. Go, Tim. Casey and TikTok, everybody's saying go, Tim. Man, thank you so much, Tim. I appreciate that. Tim is the official stimulus of what's going on in the market. So, man, you've put me off right now, Tim. You have genuinely put me off. I think everyone's now a channel member. Let's go. If you're not a channel member, you know what to do. So, the liquidity zone of the global assets. Okay, man, I feel like Tim should get a little like a thing up here, just like Tim Shea. Shout out to Tim though. Japanese yields and capital gets pulled back home. Exactly what we talked about. Basically, one of the biggest buyers of US debt is stepping back while America needs more money than ever. So what you've got essentially is Japan going, screw investing in the US, screw investing anywhere else. We need to invest at home. We need to stimulate the market. We need to get this Japanese economy moving. So when the world stops funding the US at cheap rates, then the only outcome is left. More money printing, more liquidity, and eventually high asset prices, especially Bitcoin. So what does this mean? Short-term pain. The debate has to be, though, is there going to be enough legs in this market to rally through the bad times? Good on, Selmo. That's the big question I think a lot of people are going to have. And we'll talk a bit about what that can look like. What are some of the charts that are going to tell us? What are some of the kind of technicals that we need to keep a very much eye on? Right now, though, it's a fucking disaster. Okay, let's just not call it anything other than that. It's a very challenging time. Would I be buying the dip, which is the obvious question? No. Would I bollocks? I'm waiting and seeing what happens. It's exactly what I was talking about, having some stable coins sat on the side of it. Can you go and play the DeFi market? Of course you can. Can you go play the meme coin space? Yes, but I'd play it on new coins, and I'd be very cautious about what you trade and how you do it. So, given we've got all this kind of unwind, the fact is that, and this is kind of where I get to a little bit where I'm like, none of this really makes sense, okay? None of it. Japan surely is, however, deeply invested in Ripple. That's true, and recently they just, well, I'm about to talk about something now, but recently they have integrated a part of the Ripple net as well, which is kind of crazy. But Japan slashes crypto taxes from a flat 20% on gains down from up to 55%. So you kind of have this stimulus going into Japan, like this $117 billion. I think the number's a bit bigger, actually. I think it's like $123. What are you doing, you massive set of choppers? Vern coming in with a 20. Holy crap. Bro, thank you so much. Man, this journey to becoming a full-time YouTuber has always turned, and TikTok superstar, by the way, it's turned out to be pretty fun tonight. I appreciate it. Hey, guys, whatever the market's going to zero, look, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, everybody. Absolutely humbling. Very humbling indeed, actually. So what you've got here is this unwind of the Japanese carry trade to a degree. I don't think it's as big as people are making out, and I'll tell you and show you why I don't think it is. But you've essentially then got this massive stimulus package that Japan's going to do. That's in line with the broader market, by the way. Japan, $1.3 trillion just dumped into their housing market. The US is about to start QE, which could dump anything from $15 to $20 trillion into the market as well. You've also got the UK, which is trying to stimulate its arsehole off by simply just taxing cryptocurrencies and obviously trying to stimulate the economy over here. Like, loads of people are doing this. Like, loads of people are doing it. What's interesting here is, though, Japan go, oh, well, let's drop our taxes on cryptocurrency. Why? Because they want to grab the same ideas, the same narrative that you've got in places like Saudi Arabia, the UAE. The Middle East is booming for digital assets, and I think they know exactly what's coming. This has been a great stumble upon, brother. Definitely a new follower. Ah, man, thank you so much. I appreciate that. We're just trying to make it happen. Professor says, you know very little. Please, sir, educate me on what I don't know. I don't profess to know anything. What I do profess to do is work hard, understand it, and try and grow at the same time as everybody else. But please, let me know what I don't know, specifically on the Japanese carry trade, how it's affecting markets, and more importantly, how the bond yields are going to be important. I am awaiting your response. I appreciate it. Emily says, 2-bit, it's tea time. I had it, look. I had it, and just FYI, left the tea bag in the cup, so don't hate me, but I did. Crypto Roger says, give it a day or two and we'll be green. Well, if you caught my video talking about Bitcoin earlier on, I actually said I think this week will be pretty volatile. Let's touch on why this is. So, Japan is almost, there's a saying, isn't there? Just throw everything at the dartboard and something might stick. And I think that's exactly where they are. Now, historically, Japan's been one of those countries that actually has been quite pro-stimulus, but quite pro-growth. Here is the problem in Japan, and it's, I'm not going to say it's fully the problem, but their work, like their labor force is not great, okay? Their actual birth rate is declining, etc., etc. So what the problem is, you haven't got enough stimulus and enough people paying in to make it happen. That's why they've always had relatively flat rates, but turns out they might end up being one of the great places to go for the cryptocurrency market. But while Bank of Japan ultimately is potentially raising rates, this will create uncertainty in the short term, right? And especially on risk assets, The reality is, though, that Bitcoin capitulated into it. We saw the Fed cutting rates, the Bank of Japan raise rates. This isn't unusual. We've seen this before. We obviously saw it back in 2024, and we're seeing everything again. Like I said, the debate right now is, does Bitcoin, the broader market, have the minerals to survive? And I think that's exactly where it is right now. It's the fight or flight. It is the absolute decision time. We touched on this a little bit yesterday as well. 2-bit knows how to make Yorkshire puddings 100%. Yeah, I actually do, 140 grams of flour, 4 eggs, 200 mils of milk. Mix it up. Really hot pan. Bosh, in the oven. You're good. It will get worse for crypto until carry trade unwinds. Yeah, I still don't think it's as big as people think it is, but I think people are front-running this. We talked about this a while back. Shane, what's going on, bro? We talked about the fact people were front-running this potential problem, right? People were front-running it, and that's exactly what's happened. But the fact is, we may once again get a bounce. Back in 2024, the big carry trade unwind that everyone said the market was going to zero. Always, we were going to go down. Nothing was going to happen. Blah, 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 blah. Then the reality is we obviously got that nice little back move to the upside. So this could all unwind and start to be a bit more positive. I think, though, here's the harsh reality. I think the Bank of Japan will increase their rates, and this will create real short-term nervousness in the market. So definitely worth being aligned to. The other bit we got today as well, just as a real quick side note, is ISM came in bad, right? Who would have thought it, eh? ISM actually came in at 48.2. Estimators were 49, previous at 48.7. So the actual manufacturing market is contracting as well. So you couldn't have wrote today as been any worse than it actually freaking was, in fairness. Do you know what I mean? Couldn't have worked it. I honestly think BTC doesn't exist by 2030. Wow, really? Man, do you think, okay, yeah, so do you think you would argue that something like XRP or an ISO 222 compliant coin would be the next big thing? I mean, yeah, maybe. I think it's unlikely, but I definitely could see the arguments for it, because I guess you would assume that institutions take over so much of the supply of Bitcoin that it basically just becomes completely worthless from a decentralized perspective, which is what Bitcoin originally was made for. And then you'll have to go to something else like Zcash, as an example. I'm not saying go buy Zcash, by the way. It's not what I'm saying. But yeah, I guess that's kind of where some people would definitely argue that might be a thing. So I don't mind the manipulation. It's just institutions trying to buy volume at a discount. Well, that's also true. I totally waited. Thanks for the tip. I was literally saying that earlier on. I was saying, you said yesterday. Again, we talked about this 2 weeks ago. I brought this up 2 weeks ago. At least my Zcash short is going well. That is true. I love it. So yeah, Japan will and XRP move. Well, yeah, maybe after silver pumps, we go higher. I mean, silver's going absolutely wild today. So Financial Times, if anyone doesn't know, by the way, I thought this was a pretty interesting article. It talked a little bit about, I guess, summarizing what we have done, but here is just some of the key things. And this kind of should tell you a little bit about how this movement could really unwind the markets, right? Are we still in a bull run? I mean, we can't really say yes, can we? Let's call it. I don't necessarily think we're in a bear market, because even today is a capitulation event. It's not really a bear market, isn't it? But I guess we'll see. I mean, we could go way lower. But again, just think about this. The 10-year Treasury yield, the benchmark for trillions of dollars in assets globally, rose 0.08% to 4.09. So that's the US one, the largest rise in a month. So US Treasuries are going up. This is why you're seeing this unwind, because people are like, screw the Bank of Japan. Like, I'm going to go and buy US Treasuries. Global bonds are feeling the butterfly effect following the Bank of Japan's hawkish signal to prepare for a December rate cut. Isn't it crazy? Like, rate hike, sorry. Matt Muskin, co-chief investment strategist at Manoeuvre John Hancock Investments. The selling bonds hit risky assets with generally declined. Investors can obtain higher yields from holding heaven assets like Japanese and US government debt. Bitcoin slumped 7%, taking the cryptocurrency's drop over the past month to more than 20%. Think about that. 20% down in the last month is a pretty insane number. Japan's yen rallied about 0.6% against the US dollar to 155 yen as traders sharpened bets on higher rates. So that is exactly what, we were talking about down here. So this number, again, this is the chart you absolutely need to have, right? Stick it on your trading views and make sure you're watching it, because what you're looking for is we need the Japanese yen to come down, okay? It needs to come down in value. How does it come down? They need to see a stimulus in the economy. We're not going to get it, right? Let's just call it as it is. It's not going to come, and we need to be mindful of that. You may very well be the best crypto channel ever, brother. Streaming and keeping up with the platform. Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. I saw a thing earlier, and it said, "Bring Joe Biden back." Oh, gee. I'm from the UK. It doesn't really matter, but yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate the kind words. I try my best. And we're on the journey to becoming, the cryptocurrency capital of the world. Who knows? Who knows where we get to? But yeah, anyway, if you haven't already got that chart on there, I highly recommend sticking it on your charts. The more it becomes clear that Japanese rates are normalizing, the higher the probability that Japanese investors begin to repatriate funds from foreign bond markets, or at the very least buy fewer foreign bonds. Now, this doesn't help with QE. Think about this. And I talked about this in my video this morning. Quantitative easing is essentially printing money from the Fed, which they may now have to do anyway. If the Japanese, carry trade unwinds, and we're in shit street. But essentially now, if they start to print money, this will print money directly into the US economy, which may start to spike it, which again, could be good news. But removing a key source of international finance at a time when sovereign issuance is surging. So when people desperately need the money, we need it. Thanks for the short signal yesterday, mate. Appreciated. Hey, I tried my best. And that liquidity equals big dollars for it. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Selmo! Wake up. It's the first of the month. Let's get it. White Rabbits, bro. Thank you so much for the 20. Man, you guys are bullish tonight. I appreciate you guys 100%. Thank you so much. The other bit we need to think about will be ADP payroll figures. We'll see what that looks like. And then obviously Jerome Powell speaking at I think it's about the next 3 hours. By the way, he's at some memorial service, so I wouldn't get super bullish on Powell coming to save us, because I don't think he's going to tonight. Just FYI, right? Just keep your eyes peeled on that. But essentially that gives you a little bit more to walk through. So what is, I guess, look, we always try and look at both sides of the story here, because today has felt like one of those days where you just add more fuel to an already raging fire of selling, right? Like literally, if you think about how the timeline of events have gone today, Japanese like the Japanese basically go, I think we're going to probably raise rates. Oh shit, markets go boom, dump everything. You then get ISM and PMI data coming in worse than expected. Like, oh god. And then everyone's obviously freaking out about Michael Saylor. And by the way, if at any point Saylor sells Bitcoin, even the smallest amount, we're not done as in the markets are over, but look, it's going to be pretty pissing painful, okay? But there is something worth noting. MicroStrategy continues to dump down 12%, obviously a lot tied to BTC, 57% since October 6th. So MSTR is really dumping. By the way, Bitcoin back above 86,000. You can all thank me at a different time. So 171 is actually not the worst number we've seen for MSTR. That's been on a very, very big push down the markets. But loads of people are now kind of freaking out that he might have to sell in order to pay the debt or pay the bills. Even if you subtract MicroStrategy's current debt pile of 8.2 billion from their current Bitcoin holdings, they still hold 46.8 billion worth of Bitcoin on the net basis. Now, what's also pretty insane, and I saw this today, given the market's where it is, given the nervousness in the market and all the rest of it, then guess freaking what, right? Guess what? Michael Saylor announced the formation of a 1.44 billion USD reserve and an increase in its BTC reserves to 650,000. He's like, screw you guys. You might think you're going to be able to short sell MSTR out of business, but we're going to make sure that we are stacked. We are ready to rock and roll. So this is a kind of marginal optimism that returns to the market. I wouldn't have said super great, bullish ones, but anyway. All signs point to BTC as a great scapegoat for debt. You won't exist by 2030. I mean, the whole Russian narrative where they're like, yep, we know what the US is trying to do. We know what they're doing. So anyway, I highly recommend checking a look at this. By the way, I'm going to post this in the chat so you guys can read it. Definitely worthwhile. Go on to X, look at Michael Saylor, and look at the MSTR announces the formation of the 1.44 billion USD reserve, because I do think that is important to reference. So MicroStrategy's net Bitcoin holdings are still 1.8 billion above their current market cap, not including any cash on their balance sheet. Now, if you remember, we did pull MSTR's balance sheet up and had a look at that the last time we were live, and it was pretty freaking healthy if you ask me. So I don't necessarily think this is the biggest concern, but I think a lot of narrative is being pushed that way. And right now, I think people are just desperate to like find their way to the surface. They're just like, oh my God, I just don't know where I'm going. Like, this market's insane. Who would have called this, crazy dump? As I said right at the very start though, where does that leave us? What does it look like? And what do we need to look at? Now, you could argue and say, well, fundamentals, technicals are going to support us. This will help us, navigate this challenge of this market, because that'll kind of support us and that'll give us an idea as to where this market's going to go. The reality is that, well, it's not really helping us at all. And it's basically in shit street. But here, look. We talked about these charts, particularly on the weekly candles. Now, I'm no expert on TA, right? I don't profess to be some sort of expert. All I would ever say is, look, I'm prepared to learn every single day. I will research as much as I possibly can. I'll dive deep into stuff that no one else wants to bother with. If that means I've got to read, listen, and talk for the 5 hours a day, I'm going to do it. And we spoke about some of these charts. We spoke about where some of these lines hit. What's interesting today, look at the price movement on BTC. Perfectly hit 85,717. The 618 Fibonacci, we hit it perfectly. What a freaking surprise on the weekly candle. So important to reference that as we see that push down. Again, you can see it there. The 618 absolutely nailed it on this technical. So this will be where we see some key bouncing, and this is potentially where we see it. So as bad as the markets are right now, and as bad as it feels like it, fundamentally, has anything changed with Bitcoin? No. Fundamentally, has anything changed with the narrative of Bitcoin? No. What has changed is macro and global economics. Here's the problem. The problem is we are now tied more than ever with macroeconomics. For example, the market's dumped. BlackRock sells 1,248 Bitcoin, and I absolutely expect them to sell more tomorrow. So please, be mindful. This is why I don't think it's a good idea to be trading anything. Why I don't think it's necessarily a good way. Unless you are an expert trader, by the way, then crack on. Do you know what I mean? You know what you're doing. But it is very, very risky right now because even a bounce from where we are could see us push higher from where we go. But again, ETF selling pressures are coming in. Liquidations probably will hit $1 billion. It is worth noting. But again, that's kind of where we sit. Now, Bitcoin is trying to rally back up. 4.48%, 86,338. Flush the markets. Let's see what it goes. Back to that original statement on the original chart that we were showing. Have I still got it up here? Maybe not. Where actually, oh, here it is. Where potentially, back in July 2024, we saw exactly the same. The massive wick down, followed by, a couple of weeks of seeing what happens. Then boom, a rally to a new all-time high. So this could be the final move. I'm not going to get into that narrative of oh, it's the final shakeout before the breakout because, who knows? And the fact is that if the Japanese carry trade unwinds and they continue to raise rates, it's bad news, all right? It's going to be bad news until basically the point where the US economy is self-sufficient. And with a $38 trillion debt, that's a little bit of a problem. Mouse says, hi all, I'm still bullish. Nothing will stop me selling 50% at $10. Let's get it, baby. The market should turn soon. 98% rate cut in December. Tom Lee, very bullish. Yeah, he bought more today. Tom Lee and BitMine actually bought more Bitcoin. Bought more Ethereum today, which is kind of wild to think about it. And again, look, sometimes that's where the best of the markets make it. Scared money don't make money. I'm not telling anyone to go and ape everything into these markets, but certainly there's an argument to say, look, you've got some discounts, particularly memes and altcoins. BTC is trying right now. Look at this. We're up. We're up nearly 1% from when we went live. We go to the hourly chart here, just as an example. And I'm not flexing. I'm not saying, look, this channel is where it's all at. But since this live stream happened, we're now up nearly 1 full percent on the price of Bitcoin. So good news, if you ask me. By the way, just a real quick one. If you haven't hit the like button, please give us a quick thumbs up. Tap the screen on TikTok as well if you could. That would be great. Also, if you haven't subscribed, and I highly recommend doing so, we're on our way to 40,000 subscribers. It's even insane that I even say that. But if you could just hit the subscribe button, turn that notification bell on, that would be mostly appreciative. Remember, I'm updating you guys every day. We're diving way deeper into a lot of stuff that's going on than I think a lot of channels are. And certainly we're trying to pivot a little bit, which isn't just some bullshit news story and isn't just me sat in the car going, well, today Bitcoin and the crypto markets went down and it went down because Japan's rates are going up. And, oh, well, that's a bit of a disappointment, isn't it? But don't worry, no. We're going way deeper than that. So if you're interested, 11:30 every single day, we get a Bitcoin update as well as macro update video. Altcoins come out later on in the afternoon. Again, TikTok, you can obviously get that. And I would highly recommend joining my free Discord. Get in that channel. It's worth it. The ultimate rug pull, bro. Maybe. Check out Santa after 2-bit. Keeps going up. Okay, I will definitely take a look at it. BTC is very trying. The whole market is. Is there an FOMC meeting coming up soon? Yes. It's on the 10th of December. Rate cut expectations are, as we talked about yesterday, nearly 88% right now. So, very much aligned. I would expect this to go higher. So, again, I'm still in a world, which in theory, if you think about it, maybe the Fed does go 50 because if the Japanese bond market's going to be a disaster, well, then maybe they do want to stimulate the economy. Maybe they do want to, dump that, which could be interesting. Even 2-bit, sorry I'm late to the session. I begun buying today personally, accumulation mode. Let's get it, Liam. Liam, be mindful though. Again, not financial advice. Just giving you my opinion, but I would, just keep an eye out because, like I said, this market's super volatile, and we talked about how sort of volatile it is as well. So yeah, Powell speaks at 8. Again, just for reference, by the way, he's at some memorial thing. Like he's not going to come out and be like, "Good morning." Oh, good afternoon. Sorry. Let's talk about he's not going to talk about that. I'm sure it's some memorial thing. I'm sure it is. It's been hyped way more than it should be. Jay Powell speaking today. I'm sure it's a memorial thing, calendar. Or something. Chairman Jay, brief remarks in the panel discussion with Michael Boskin and Condoleezza Rice on George Shultz and his economic policy contributions at the Hoover Institution for George P. Shultz Memorial Lecture Series. It's not like a big macroeconomic thing, so just be mindful, by the way. This isn't going to be this isn't going to be anything great. The Hoover Institute invites you to virtually attend the George P. Shultz Memorial Lecture about Shultz and economic policy. We are honored to invite you to the George P. Shultz Memorial Lecture on Economics, celebrating the remarkable legacy of the late George P. Shultz as a former Secretary of State, Secretary of Labor, Secretary of the Treasury Budget Director, and the recipient of the Presidential Medal of Freedom, Schultz played a transformative role in shaping US economic and foreign policy in the late 20th century. So if Jay Powell's there to talk about that, he's not going to be like, let's talk about interest rates or the Japanese carry trade. Like, he's just not going to talk about it. So I wouldn't be resting any laurels on that at all, by the way. None at all. Vanguard just allowed crypto. Yeah, it literally, as you said that, just flashed up on my screen. So breaking news. Breaking news, everybody. Vanguard to allow clients to buy crypto ETFs starting tomorrow. Let's get it, baby. I mean, is it a big deal? I don't know. Might be. Everyone's like, oh, the Bitcoin price is completely screwed. Altcoins are through the floor. But hey, you can get 6.5% on staking Solana. It's going to be great. But yeah, maybe. I don't think it's necessarily great, but it's interesting timing, isn't it? Like, the market's completely screwed and they're like, Vanguard are like, yeah, welcome, buy some ETFs. It's going to be great. Jesus Christ. Anyway, how is 21 Shares ETF doing? Well, let's have a look. I think that's good news. Let's take a quick look at that, which is here. Vanguard XRP ETF spot. So we got 21 shares. Is it live today? Did it go live? Oh, there. It's not live yet. Why is it not live yet? What? Is that right? Canary Capital, Bitwise, Frankel Templeton, Canary. It must not be live yet. 21 shares this week approved. Meh, it's just not live yet. Unless someone can tell me otherwise. But it doesn't look like it. I think it was like Coin Shares or something pulled out. Yeah. It's not a lie, by the way. It's not a lie. Vanguard will be supporting crypto ETF payments unless everyone's got it wrong, but it's literally just breaking news right now. I don't know if we can get that as a full article. Let me see if I can find like an official statement from Vanguard. Vanguard Capital. Let's see if we can get an official statement from here. I think they cancelled for the time being. Really? 21 shares did? What? Did they really? I definitely thought others did. I definitely thought other ones did, but yeah, maybe not. Maybe not then. Woke up this morning to some awesome red tag Cyber Monday sale. I mean, that is true. Hey, Robert Dover, that's the way to think about it. That is the way to think about it. Now, Bitcoin is trying its best. Look at this. So here's on the 1 hour chart. Bitcoin is trying to rally back. Now, obviously, it's got a bit of a way to go on this incredible dumperino. But, you know, where would be a sensible price target to look like? You know, break it back above the 20-day exponential moving average, maybe. Retest the 50, 88,000. Could we get that high? Potentially. I mean, there is some absolute stinking debates. Look at the Aerodrome Finance, by the way. 58 cents. Are you kidding me right now? I think CoinShares pulled out the ETFs due to merging. Yeah, there was 2 or 3 that pulled out. I can't remember exactly who it was, but definitely 2 or 3 of them did pull out. So it is what it is, isn't it? I mean, who the hell would launch anything in there? Enough to settle debts. I mean, that is true. Okay, good. So that essentially is where we are right now. What else do we have coming this week, which is important to think about, and anything that's going to save the market? Now, we haven't really had anything from the Trump administration as to whether they're going to do anything or not. We'll get a little bit more data tomorrow. So you're going to get things like the ADP report on Wednesday coming in. Obviously, we get import and export, ISMs, PMI is going to come in on Wednesday as well as like an official statement. And then we get core PCE that's going to drop on Friday. So, you know, I guess that's the problem, Cheese, isn't it? That's how I end up with 3 kids. Mr. Bear. Oh, no, Mr. Beer. Mr. Beer is welcome. Mr. Bear is not welcome. So, again, from a macro standpoint, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. The US will cut tariffs on South Korea autos to 15% starting November 1st. Do you mean December 1st, Hobbs? I moved tariffs on South Korean aircraft parts, aligning rates with those applied to the Japan and EU. Interesting. XRP at 32 cents at a bargain at $2. Don't touch it. Star dog. Yeah. So, good. Okay. That's where we are right now. That is where we are right now. If you've got any questions, by the way, everybody, let me know. Any thoughts or opinions, obviously drop it in the chat. We got like 170 people live here on YouTube and like, 55, 60 people here on TikTok as well. It's fluctuating between like 100 and 60 people. So again, do me a quick favor, give us a quick thumbs up. That would be great. Also, if you haven't already tapped the screen here on TikTok as well. And again, if you want to grab that subscription, please do so. Once again, I want to give a massive shout out to Mr. Tim Shea, who dropped 20 gifted memberships. What an absolute G. Thank you so much. Vern and Selmo dropping 10s and 20s. Dropping 20s as well. So thank you so much, you guys. I absolutely appreciate that for sure. John says, Vanguard allowing clients to buy crypto. Yeah, crypto ETFs. So technically not specifically crypto, but ETFs. Bugatti, love that, by the way. Zebek, I mean, if you're looking at a $3 Zebek, it's on an absolute discount right now. Shine, what's going on, bro? Welcome in. Shreddy says, Bitcoin to new all-time highs by January 1st. Thoughts? Is possible, but I feel unlikely. That's probably where I would get to. Unless we get some sort of bounce this week. If we take the weekly candles, and we were just touching on this in terms of the Fibonacci's, by the way, as much as this feels super shit and painful, right? And obviously everyone's a bit freaking out. We actually are just back to the lows we were last week. So it didn't feel bad last week. Yeah, it didn't feel great. And markets did feel like they were a little bit naff, but it didn't feel super crazy. Today's feels bad, and it only feels bad because of how it's happened. So if you think about this kind of move, everyone's going, okay, bullish, yeah, fine. And then we trade the weekend and it's all relatively flat, and it's like, into the start of the new week. I mean, I saw a video by, I'm not going to say who it was, but basically an Australian cryptocurrency, and they were like, this week is going to be insane. This is the week everything changes. Time to get freaking macro, super, mega bullish. And you're like, boom, Japanese carry trade. Hello, everyone, AVAX, good buying opportunity. I mean, I am in AVAX. I may pick some, it's under $13, which is insane. I remember buying at 44, and it wasn't even like in a bull market. I mean, Jesus Christ. How low so far, 2-bit? On what? Give me a clue. Give me a clue. How low so far? What was I just talking about? I can't remember. What's the news for the week? I mean, not a lot. This whole Japan thing, I think, needs to unwind a little bit more. And we'll probably see, you might see a little bit of something come out from Trump. I don't necessarily believe so. Oh, how low do we think BTC would go? All right, okay, fine. So, I mean, if we were to say, let's run the fibs that we've been doing, I think that's probably a good way to analyze the market and give us a bit of an idea as to where potentially we're going to see it. So if we go to the very start of this bull market, you can see there we hold the 618. So if we break the 618, the 0.5, 71,000 would align to the previous bull market cycle top. So back here in 2021, you can see there that we hit around 68,200. Now, in essence, we've never really... Oh, sorry. I'm talking nonsense. Generally, bear markets tend to drop down to about the same level as what the previous bull market cycle was. Does that make sense? So if you take the top here in 2021, what we generally did is capitulate down to the top back in 2017. So if you could argue and say, well, if the markets play out as they always have done, then the potential risk, if you will, or the potential line that we'd probably look for is somewhere around there, around $65,000, which... that's where I would predict a potential market push down to. That would take us, I think, to the previous all-time high back there in 2021, would align to the previous 3 cycles that we've got, and essentially sits between the 382 Fibonacci and the 0.5. So I think we could set ourselves on that range. If we were to say that that is where we would get to, let's say for that, and let's say that 125K was the top, what does that look like in terms of Fibonacci's, and does that tend to play out in terms of, some of the supports and some of the, some of the areas we've seen. So if we were to do that as an example, let's just sort of overlay this on here. Does this play out in terms of support and resistance? Yeah, you know what? Not a million miles away. And I think that's how you can really understand, well, will these fibs hold up if we were to push down to the 64,700 line? So, my best predictions would be, and I'm going to give a big range, but I would say anything between 60 and 70,000 would be my bear market prediction. So yeah, we go way low in this. I mean, think about what's still in those, ETFs. Like, there's some pretty big money sat in there, BlackRock dumps, everyone starts to capitulate $1 billion a day. Like, yeah. Could be down some. AK was the weekly cycle low. We're okay as long as we hold that line. If we don't, we are smoked. Okay. Sorry. Do you mean like, yeah, I mean, originally on the weekly candles, we were all about the 50-week moving average. I think you can kind of be in a world right now where you've got to play it off. You've got to play it off what you think you've got. And I mean, if you take the weekly as there, 84 would be where I would get to. If we break 84, 71 is probably where we're at. In terms of actual moving averages, the 100-day exponential moving average right now is, about 86,000. If we come lower, you're heading to 66. In my opinion, whether we get that low, I don't know. But yeah, I think we need to hold this level, but it doesn't. I don't have mega confidence right now in the market, but we'll see. We'll see. Now he's gone on a tangent for 5 minutes. Hey, here's a question. Speaking about tangents, do you guys know anything about EliPal wallets? I'm curious. Let me know what your experience, your thoughts, your opinions about EliPal wallets. They messaged me today, asked me if I wanted an EliPal wallet. But I don't know much about them, to be honest. I'm happy to review it, but I was just curious. Just as ChatGPT, and it came back with this answer. The 21 shares XRP ETF trading as TOXR on CBOE BZE exchange went live today, December 1st. The exchange regular trading now is 9:30 to 4 p.m. ET. Right. Oh, really? Is it actually, Curtis? Yeah? All right. Screw them people. Screw them people. They are the best. Is that true? Yeah? Still need to upgrade my Nano S. Yeah, same. This is a very different market. I believe it's not like previous. Like, yeah, I mean, that's true. That is true. But at the same time, everything seems to be playing out like it did before. So even if you look at, bull market tops from bottoms, what did that look like? So for example, if you were to take the bottom of, let's say the bottom of the 2017 bull market and go to the top of the 2021 bull market, what do you get? 1.8K. Do exactly the same to the top of there, 747. So you had about a half split. I have Tangam. EliPal is good, just can't fall for a scam. I mean, surely the wallet didn't get compromised. Surely they clicked on a link or something. EliPal is great. Just ask Cool Cat. All right, cool. Well, he got scammed, but he pushed the wrong button or accepted things he shouldn't have done. Well, I mean, that's not the wallet's fault, is it? EliPal is impossible to hack. Is it? All right, cool. I might get one. I might get them. So they're going to send me a code. Yeah, they're going to send me a code for one so I can order one for free. And then they're going to do me a discount code. Because I was like, hey, I'm cool with reviewing it, bro. But I want a discount code for the community as well. So, yeah. Fine. Okay, that's interesting to know. That is interesting to know. Okay, good. Right. That is that. So, the Japanese market is what it is. Is what it is. Let's take a look, just out of interest, at... let's take a look at this. So, when we were talking about liquidity crunch, and I don't necessarily think the Japanese market is going to be like the worst thing in the world, but obviously the repo debt is something we need to keep a close eye on. This is going to sort of give us a bit of an indication as to maybe where recession stuff's coming in. So we saw 3.2 billion on the repo debt. So again, not the biggest number in the world actually. So, still a little bit, but yeah, not the biggest number in the world. So okay, fine. Friday was bad. Obviously that takes you essentially through the weekend, but yeah. Nadasa, so what's happening in the Japanese market again? They're going to raise rates. They're trying to stimulate their economy. So where you've got the Federal Reserve is trying to ease the economy. Like they're trying to cool it down a little bit because it's a little bit too crazy right now. The Japanese have got the complete opposite. They're trying to stimulate. They want bond rates to go up. They want people to be buying into the Japanese markets. So yeah, that's kind of what happens. But the problem you've got is half of the globe has leveraged Japanese money against, say, US treasuries, etc. So that's the problem. So again, remember, the most important chart, if you take nothing else out of this live stream, if you've got TradingView, put US dollar versus Japanese yen. If it goes up, bad news. If it comes down, good news. All right. Unless you're Japanese, and then if it comes down, that's bad news. But hey, you get my point. So Marcus saw that it turned into a hot wallet, and that's how he lost millions of XRP. Wow. I'd definitely take a look at it for sure. What's going on, Fairground? Good to see you, man. Welcome in. Crypto Babe says XRP to $1. Wow. Wow. Maldon Taylor. XRP to $1. Really? Man, that sounds as crazy as some of the predictions last night for some of the coins for someone came in. Do you think that... do you think Pepe can get to $7? No. No. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I don't see it. $1 for XRP. So we're going to see another 50% decline in price. Doesn't feel like it. Doesn't feel like that. I mean, Bitcoin would be like 30K. Like the whole market would be absolutely screwed. Absolutely screwed, wouldn't it? But yeah. But yeah, we had some pretty interesting people asking price predictions last night. I like them, me, but God, some people are a disaster. Hey, look at this. Zcash, everybody. Look at Zcash down 20%. Jesus. Good job we talked about it last night. We said, don't do it. The FOMO is real. The FOMO is real. Look at that. Look at that. Man, we should have shorted that last night, actually. We talked about how Zcash was absolutely driven and fundamentally was propped up by FOMO. Guess what? Everyone shit the bed and ran from the hills. Look at that. That is disgusting. 20% decline in Zcash. Man, if you FOMO top of that, you got absolutely smoked on Zcash. If you are not a regular of the channel, by the way, we broke down the fundamentals of Zcash last night for a good 20 minutes. Talked about the company, talked about what it's doing, talked about the fact that DAO governance system is a complete pile of crap and that no one should get involved in it. And we talked about how it was fucking driven by FOMO. And the FOMO went kaboom. The last vids I made with... What is it? I want to see. I want to see. Utility. Yeah, it doesn't have any. I mean, that's not fair. It has a very small amount of utility, but like we said, regulation's coming. They're going to take that to the cleaners. Which one is it? Is it called Bitcoin price prediction 1st of December? What is it? Just type in the chat, Curtis. I can't really be asked to watch it. What is the price prediction? I need to maybe watch it because it feels wild. I don't know. Just asked to check. All right. Okay. Fine. I mean, I'm looking at it now. I can't really be bothered to kind of watch what it looks like, but he starts talking about some completely other random coin. I don't even know what it is. Use case and ODL. If you know, you know. Exactly. Yeah. Like I said, we're going to be starting to do a show on like a Sunday night now, which is going to break down. We're going to break down a coin, maybe a couple of coins actually. So we'll talk about where they are. I'll research them on a Saturday. So we researched Zcash. We walk and talk through that last night, and we were absolutely spot on. Look at it. The worst performing coin today, Zcash. When does Atlantis launch? I think they're going to try and launch before the end of the year, Alvin, if I'm honest. Monad right now is... Where did we put Monad on my charts? Anyone know? Jesus Christ, where did I put it? At the bottom. Oh, Monad. Oh, there it is, yeah. 2.4. So, I mean, wick down pretty aggressively. So, yeah, I think it's coming, but keep your eyes peeled. How much do you know about XRP? Literally everything you could possibly want to know about it. I've been covering XRP nearly every single day now for the last 18 months. I'm part of a wide community of people that are way smarter than I am, that are way more dialed into XRP than I am. But ask your questions, Matthew Robinson. I'll try and answer the best I possibly can without basically saying it's going to go to $10,000 because I'm not in that camp, by the way. I think a lot of people need to remember, though, the Fed rate cuts wide do great initial pumps in history once these cycles have begun. Cutting caused massive crash shortly afterwards. Did they? That's not true, isn't it? That's not true. We can look at this. Let's do Fed. The Fed funds rate. So we can apply the Fed's fund rate here to the price of BTC. And we can see exactly what happened. Look at this. We're going to get bullish. I need to take that off, though. No, I don't. I need to do that. Jesus Christ. There. So you can see, by the way, that this is the federal funds rate, this blue line. So you can see there, this is the interest rate at the side. So you can see currently we're at 3.75. What you can see here is that when the federal funds rate is 0, we get like insane pumps in the market. So again, 2021 bull market was massive, funds 0, spike in price. This is why this is so bizarre right now, because you've had Bitcoin going up while the Fed rates have been so high. Historically, when Fed rates are low, this attracts movements in the market. Same back here in 2021. Now, Fed rate coming down should mean the Bitcoin goes to the upside. That's simply not happening, though. So yeah, that's kind of what we need to see here out. But generally speaking, we don't see like massive crashes on the back of it. Negative Ghost Rider. Slowly, then suddenly, good evening, 2-bit. QT ending today. I mean, QT officially apparently did end. Not that you could tell, but apparently did end today. It's already begun. Right, sorry, you did, Matthew Robinson. Right, what did you say? And do you reckon XRP will shoot up or go up slowly? I think it will. So my view, by the way, is I think it will grind up, aligned with the broader market. So if you get a day like today, there's no way XRP survives. However, it is a better performing asset than others, only down 6%. And then I think as potential adoption comes in, then I think you could see a skyrocket in price. So I would almost say that I believe XRP will ladder its way up as opposed to it being a slow grind like something like Quant or like Bitcoin, which is super volatile. I just think XRP will slowly grind up. If you look at what is going on behind the scenes, so you look at bank adoption, finance sector adoption, you look at what's going on in things like Oracle Pay. So I talked about this on a video the other night, and I can't take all the credit, by the way, because I connected with someone who was with me and Vern on our Wednesday show, live on TikTok, by the way. Don't miss that. We'll be live again this week. That works for Oracle, which is pretty epic. And basically what you've got is Ripple is like integrating with Oracle to provide RLUSD to loads of financial banks. What a fucking surprise. So yeah, there's loads of stuff going on with Ripple. The UAE adopting it. It's now the first regulated cryptocurrency that is going to be able to be used for things like mortgage-backed loans. So yeah, I think it will grind up. At the minute, the market's terrible. Like, that's the challenge, isn't it? And I think not enough people really understand it. But hey, still worth being reasonably bullish, in my opinion. Just to clarify, also, I mean a single crash after a change, not that it's a permanent trend. Yeah. I mean, generally speaking, what do you get on Fed rates? You get W patterns, don't you? People dump on the news, then they get a little bit like, oh, actually, okay, it's not so bad. Then Jerome Powell opens his mouth, and it's like, oh my God, we're going to freaking zero again. And then we sort of come out the other side reasonably well, if that makes sense. But yeah, we'll see. What did I say? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Daniel, next week it'll be on the mall sale. Oh, bruh. They're hoping to get it signed off by the end of the year, actually. So we'll see. Did you party up? No, I did not. This is a live lesson in human psychology. Yeah, exactly. Pretty sure we're entering the bear market, boys. Oh no. Maybe. Let's hope not. Are the UAE using XRP, did you say? So there's a massive integration. So the UAE have just announced as part of its, I think it's called something like the FDYS or something, which is the financial district of something or other. Basically, you're going to be able to get things like mortgage-backed loans. It'll be deemed as an asset or collateral if you want to go and get real estate. Like, basically, the first cryptocurrency to be licensed, regulated, and operated in the UAE. Singapore are now going big on RippleNet, as are Saudi Arabia as well. So the Middle East is like, pretty big on XRP, which is kind of good news. So yeah, I think all that is playing out reasonably favorably as well. To you expecting a relief rally before we potentially retest the 200? I mean, we were in a relief rally. That's the thing. I think we need to see what happens with this whole Japan thing. We could see way worse tomorrow. And again, don't forget, they haven't even decided that the rate cuts are going to be in. It's only a prediction that they're going to be in. The view is we could see this way worse. This is why I was saying right at the very start of the stream, in my opinion right now, it's whether BTC, whether conviction in the market can hold steady enough to get us through what is going to be probably a pretty painful couple of weeks, in my opinion. Now, if all of a sudden the Japanese go, well, we're probably going to stimulate the economy, we don't want to unwind the global trade economy, then maybe they go, well, we'll sort of see. But yeah, it doesn't bode particularly well. What I would say though, and again, here on the weekly candles, this isn't the worst looking chart in the world. Yeah, it feels like the absolute world ended today. We're pretty much in line that we've been for the last 3 weeks. The difference is last week, obviously, we got a nice little push to the upside, so people were feeling a bit more optimistic in the market. This, though, is unfortunately where the market makers prey on the weak. It feels like that's exactly what they did. If the likes of the UAE are happy to take it as collateral, is it a pretty safe bet? I think, look, do you know how I would define XRP a little bit? Would you say that Coinbase is a safe exchange to buy, trade, sell, whatever? We sort of go, yeah. In essence, Coinbase, I would argue, is the most trusted exchange because the fact it's audited and the fact that it's regulated by the SEC. And I think XRP is in the same category. Is it 100% risk-free? No, of course it's not. But there's so much of that is regulated and checked that you kind of go, well, it's certainly on its favorable side as opposed to not. Considering the amount of support is around 75, would you say that's for the sure thing versus 67? If it's not a true bear market, but a mini... Well, the argument of a mini bear market, I've heard loads of people use this analogy, and I don't know what a mini bear market is. And I heard someone on a video talk about this, and they were like, maybe we're just going to a year mini bear market. What is a year mini bear market? Like, a bear market is everything goes to zero. You can't have a bear market with the S&P at 8,000. Like, you can't, that's not a bear market. Yeah, all right, crypto's not in favor right now. Why would it be? Go and buy stocks, AI bubble, going crazy. Like, we looked at that. Go and buy friggin' Nvidia. So I don't necessarily subscribe to a short-term bear market. I think what we could see is a, how would I put it? Just a disinterest in the crypto market, right? That's where I would get to. And I think the one to watch right now, just my opinion, the one to watch right now is what the ETF unwind looks like. So yes, I know Japan's important. I know that. If you get unwinds of ETFs, let's say BlackRock starts dumping $750,000 to $1 billion every single day, like, yeah, you're going to see some pretty big pain pretty quickly. So worth noting. Teetering on the edge of hyper Bitcoinization. That's a great word, by the way. Hello, everyone from North Cyprus, driving the same side of the road as UK. Let's get it. What's going on? Too bad. If there's one thing that you've learned from this cycle, what would it be? Man, what a deep question that is. If there's one thing from this cycle you would learn, what would it be? Don't. Be careful what you wish for, because what you wish for, you might not want. That's what I would. That was. What do I mean by that? Everybody was like, it's going to be amazing. ETFs are coming in. Let's get institutions in the market. It's going to be the wildest, best bull market ever. I'm so excited about it. Feels like we gave a little bit of our soul up to the manipulation that comes with it. And I think with regulation coming, I never thought I would be saying this as a pro-crypto, pro-decentralized individual, but get it here ASAP. Now, when I say regulation, I don't mean what the UK is about to do, which I think is awful. But what I do mean is that if Binance, Wintermute, ETFs just dump billions of dollars of Bitcoin to crash the market, to dump the price, I think they should be held accountable for that. I don't think they should be allowed to do it. They wouldn't be allowed to do it in the stock market. I don't therefore think they should be allowed to do it in the crypto market as well. So yeah, that's what I would say. XLM has huge potential. It's holding very well. It stays 23 cents. Yeah, and look, if XRP runs as well, then XLM will be very good as well. Would be very well. So common sense dictates. I mean, that's true as well. That is true. Absolutely. Aligned to what you believe, not what people tell you. It's just that, well, the business cycle is an arguable say to say, yeah, it's been delayed a year. Potentially. Sorry, miss one. Hopefully by the end of the year, Alvin, that's the plan. Hopefully by the end of the year is what they want to do. I missed the info. Should I buy now or sell now? It depends. It depends. I can't tell you. I can't tell you what to do. What I would say to you, though, is it all depends on where you bought and what your buying price would be. Because right now, essentially, if you would be selling on the bottom of the wick, which I never think is a good idea, by the way. So many people end up selling. So if you sold the bottom, if you panic sold, you'd have sold 83.5K. You're already at 86. You would have sold at $3,000 less on BTC. So I'm not here to tell you what to do, but I do think that you have to really step back and say, okay, what is logic telling me? And I think that's where I'm at. So for example, at 126 on Solana, you're like, fucking hell, how low is Solana going to go? Well, we bought at 8, 9, 10 bucks. All right, cool. Well, if Sol drops to maybe 100, I may consider it. Or okay, I might just hold on to Solana until the next bull market cycle. Why? Because I'm just getting 7% on my 7% on the return. All right, cool. You must be wrecked from the market. I wouldn't say I was. I mean, I wouldn't say my portfolio looks great, but don't forget, I'm 50% in stablecoin. So as of like, when did I can't remember. It was like 104 or something. So I'm 50% in stablecoin. So yeah, as much as it's pretty painful, for the last month I've been well, I didn't actually do any last week, but yeah, I'm 50% of my entire portfolio is in stablecoin. So. And I talked about it and I posted it in the Discord as well that I was doing it. Man, in fact, I can probably see it. Don't forget, link in the description, by the way. If you want to join the Discord, I highly recommend it. All of the good stuff that you could ever want to see in there and you ever want to get involved in, I absolutely urge you to get involved. Great community. Nothing weird about it. I just think it's a good idea. Yeah, so, man, 11th. So, yeah, right the way back, early November. I said in the Discord, I moved some position into stablecoin today with protecting some capital. 11th of November. Which was, when was 11th of November? November. Here, look. Yes, like 106,000. Do you think BlackRock and Fidelity will have XRP ETFs? Yes. Yeah, and I do actually. I think BlackRock's going to push for an Ethereum staking ETF first, though. They threw the kitchen sink at silver today and barely drove it down. Yeah, silver's wild, bro. What's it at? $60 right now. 2-bit dominoes. Mate, honestly, if you've been watching the live stream, you should be all right now. We didn't call this dump, but I did talk about it about 2.5 weeks ago and said, be very mindful of the unwind in Japan. We also talked about, some coins yesterday, and I told everyone literally in 3 weeks ago that I was going to stablecoins. 50% in stablecoins. What dream, man? $20 for a full Bitcoin. Man, I'm down for buying that. Sell the kitchen sink, bro. What's going on, TJ, though? Good to see you, man. It's dumping because 2-bit sold his mega bags. Oh, bro, get out of here. It's a common misconception. Japanese bonds, are they going to hike interest rates? It looks like it, yeah. It looks like it. And that's why the market's totally shit the bed today. So, yeah. If you have a 40-cent XRP average, sell a little off, hodl. I mean, I'm probably in a similar place. And I haven't sold any. So XRP, Solana, and I sold off my let's call it the fun ETH. So what I have in my Nano S, my long-term holdings, it's just there, and I can't really be bothered to do anything with it. It is what it is. And then my MetaMask ETH, I sold that in stablecoin. So play sports, can't play at fighting, brother. I mean, that's true. That's true. ETH breaking back above 2,800. So market's trying to push up a little bit right now. BTC back to 86,600. So yeah, I mean, look, it's not the biggest move in the world, but it is a move back up. So Armando, you can say other things other than just okay. So far, your comments and your contribution to this live stream, by the way, that's fine. Is okay, bro. Okay. 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 Okay, bro. It's fine. If that's what you want to contribute, I'm cool with it, by the way. Don't worry about it. But yeah, feel free to contribute anything else. What should we want Japan to do for bullish XRP? Drop their interest rates. Stay at 0. See a weakening yen versus the dollar. So this chart here, the US dollar versus Japanese yen, what you want to see is... That's what you want to see. As an ideal. In fact, I can actually do this for you guys, right? Watch this. Watch this. I'm going to, yeah, here we go. Look, here we go. This is, right. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? I don't know if this is going to work, by the way, but here's the chart up here, right? This is what you need to see for the yen. Not going back up though. Anyway, that's what you need to see as an ideal. No, supply shock. We want them all to be selfish. I mean, yeah, but if the Japanese yen goes down, then that means more people can buy XRP. Considering this is an institutional bull market, or possibly bear now, and retail the street is loaded with debt, I think alternative coins are kind of... Yeah, 100%. 100%. Right now, no one is invested in the crypto market. Understand that. Everyone's going into stocks. I mean, you look at today, by the way, with the massive capitulation that we've had, absolutely BTC totally shitting the bed. The S&P 500 down 0.5%. No one cares. Literally down 28 basis points. No one gives a flying shit about it. Fine. Don't stress it. Silver at 57, spiking. Brilliant. Even the NASDAQ, as much as it got pushed down with tech stocks, only down 1.7. Dollar came down. FTSE came down. Russell came down. Yeah, it's insane. Bitcoin, crypto markets, worst asset to hold this entire bull market. Should have bought Nvidia. Scratch, what's going on? Thanks for the follow, man. Appreciate it. Power says the bear market's here, so prepare yourself to buy an absolute bottom of every altcoin for the next year. Fall is almost time to make male life-changing gains. Bro, we did that fucking 3 years ago. That was meant to be now. It's meant to be now. It's not turned out to be that case. Here I am, still doing my 9-to-5 job. It's all right, though. Don't forget, we started a new journey today. We started a new journey. My journey into becoming a full social media... I nearly said celebrity then. I don't mean that at all, by the way. But yeah, trying to go full-time as a cryptocurrency content creator, YouTuber, and TikToker. I don't know if that's even a job title, but hey, it'd be pretty interesting on the mortgage statement. So, Mr. 2-Bit, what is your actual job? Well, bro, I'm 2-Bit Crypto. That's who I am. So, get used to it. Yeah, basically proved it's easier money if you're in stocks and ETFs. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. You might as well just put it all into USDT and got 15%. The Trump administration is on the phone telling Japan keep the rate steady. Yeah, can you imagine, Beebs? It's me. I don't know what she's called, by the way. It's Donnie T. You better not raise those interest rates, you massive chopper. Like, don't worry about it. We'll stimulate your economy. We're going to make it happen. Here's some tariff deals. Can you compare BTC, BCH, and BSV? Use the networks. Look at the block explorers. Why? Just out of interest. What do you think of Quant? Yeah, we talked about Quant yesterday. I think it isn't going to change the world. Will it just slowly grind up? Yeah, that's been my view of Quant all along, by the way. 101, it's only down 1%, so still holds up pretty well. Volume isn't massive, which I think is why you're definitely seeing sort of that move. But yeah, I mean, look, it probably will still kind of, drive up. Won't go crazy though. Feyenoord says, feels like scam season. Yeah, tell me about it. Liquidity is dry. Yeah, that's the problem. Oh, I sent an invite to somebody. Don't come up on the stream. I'll just, no. What the heck? What is happening here? Don't come on the stream. Bro. No. Have to remember institutional investors don't like uncertainty. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's why you'll probably see markets dump a little bit more. What do you reckon? QE starting dates announced and a 0.5 rate cut today. QE hasn't been announced, and I am in a world where I think 0.5 could be a thing. Yeah. Alistair, what's going on? 87k coming if Powell isn't bearish. It could be. So again, Powell's not talking. Powell isn't going to talk about monetary policy. He's not. He's at some weird conference thing. So yeah, I wouldn't get too hyped up on Powell's statement. I don't think that's going to do anything, to be honest. I mean, you never know. He might come out. Oh, look, BTC is trying to rally, by the way. Won't get to 87k. Let's get it, baby. Alistair G knows what's up. Why are you kidding me? Why would you not? Oh, well, I'm just curious. Are you saying that Bitcoin Cash and BSV are investments we should be looking at? I'm just unsure. Like, I don't understand why I would compare them. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking. Who buys a piece of technology and motor and doesn't try it? Come on. I mean, I used to own Bitcoin Cash. I don't anymore, but I used to own it. 170 days later. Yeah, well, yeah. And by the way, if they do appoint, man, what's he called? Stephen Hassett. Is it Stephen Hassett? Is it Stephen Hassett? I feel like that's not right. Who is it? Is it Stephen Hassett? Kevin Hassett. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean, Kevin Hassett could be in hopefully before the end of the year, but I mean, I doubt it. Would you consider selling AVAX and Litecoin at a loss to buy ETH and stake? No, I wouldn't. I still hold AVAX because you're only going to get 2.5% on your ETH staking, which is terrible in fairness. And at 28.13, I mean, look, ETH didn't even hit the lower range of this support line we've got. So as much as ETH is kind of dumb, think about it. If you sold ETH here, it's already up 3% just in from the bottom. So no, I don't use staking as a way to offset potential declines, because not only are you gonna only get 2%, you're still staking the asset, which could go down as well. So yeah, I don't think that's a good idea at all. And again, not financial advice, but my eyes itching. I think one of you like me talking about me. But yeah, I don't think it'll be a good idea at all. Again, it's not my money, it's not financial advice, but I don't necessarily think it's a good idea. From tomorrow, Vanguard will. Yeah, we saw that. Although I couldn't find an official statement from Vanguard, so I don't know if I'd like to see an official statement. That would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. Why did he send me a voice message? What? Let's get ready to rumble. Why did he send me a voice message? Should we listen to it? Has he actually sent me a voicemail? Oh, he did. Oh, he sent me a video. I don't know what he's saying. Did anyone else hear what he's saying? What does he say? Some draw XRP. I don't know what he's on about. I don't know what he's on about. Do you know what the XRP ETFs have pulled in so far? Inflows total? Yes, I actually do. I have it all here. Bitcoin is shit. That is the statement of the day. Love it. Next year, fall will be your chance to have an absolute bomb of every altcoin in the next 7 to 8 months. Right now, it wouldn't be smart to buy the falling knife. Well, yeah, that's what we've been talking about. So currently, daily volume 41.63 milli. The total number across 5 ETFs 821 milli. 350 million XRP locked up, which is 0.35% of the supply. So it is increasing, by the way. It is increasing. Not like super crazy numbers, but it is going up. I believe this is the dip of the dippy dip final shakeout that has just grabbed all the leverage longs, and they are going after the 2 billy shorts next. Maybe. I do definitely think, though, it's a lot to do with the Japanese stuff. But yeah. Just my opinion. Sophia, what's going on? Welcome in. Good to see you. Appreciate the follow as well. Thank you so much, man. I've rubbed my eye so much that I can barely see out of it now. That's not a great idea, is it? Oh my God. But yeah, I think we'll have to see. What I don't know what he's talking about though. Tundra XRP. Does anyone know what that means? Tundra XRP. Anyone know? Tundra. Anyone know what he's talking about? Oh, XRP Tundra. Oh, okay. Yeah, I did a video on this. All right. Okay. That's what he's asking about. Okay, fine. Fine. I'll message him back in a bit. Okay. Right. Where are we at? 86,600, ETH 2,800. So BTC taking a little, and by the way, you're probably going to see this now for a little bit where we see this kind of dump in the market. So I just realized, and you guys didn't tell me, it's 10:15. Holy shit, I've been live for an hour and 25 minutes. Where did that live stream go? I'm not even kidding. Where has that live stream actually gone? Man, holy crap. I did not realize we've been live for like over an hour and 25 minutes. That is pretty wild. So, bad news, everybody. I won't be live tomorrow night. I have to do my normal 9 to 5 job stuff. So, unfortunately, I won't be live tomorrow night. But I'll be back Wednesday to give you an update on the market. Look out for content, as always. We'll be bringing you it fresh, as we do here. Once again, massive shout out to the one and only Mr. Tim Shea, dropping 20 memberships. Holy crap. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. But yeah, I won't be live tomorrow night. All dependent on what happens, actually. So it's like a Christmas party that I've got to go to with work and blah, blah, blah. You know, all the more reasons why, you know, people should hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, all that kind of good stuff. But yeah, I'll be back Wednesday night as always. Look out for some content. We're going to deep dive a little bit more into kind of why the market's dumped, but more importantly, how and what is going to ignite these markets and push them a little bit higher. So as always, come on, man, who cares about the party? I mean, I don't, other than the fact that at the minute they still pay my bills. So yeah, so unfortunately I have to go. But what's weird is some of the people, a couple of them know that I do this as well. So it's always a bit of a fun thing. But yeah, I mean, maybe I go live on TikTok. It'll be hilarious, wouldn't it, tomorrow night? But anyway, as always, thank you so much, everybody. Keep close to these markets. If you haven't already joined the Discord, the link is in the bio and it's also in the description. Get in there, totally free. Join the community, we'd really appreciate it. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, I definitely recommend doing it. If you want to get access to our premium Discord, where we talk about all things DeFi and getting to everything nook and cranny and all the rest of it, then check out that. Grab a subscription here on YouTube, as Tim did for 20 of you wonderful people. And likewise, grab a subscription on TikTok if you want to get involved in that. As ever, thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow. Catch you on the flip side. See you in a bit.